we are in upstate New York for round number 6 of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports All-Stars here at Watkins, Glen, and the classic layout of this circuit. We don't head down the boot, we don't have the bus stop chicane, so there's going to be plenty of action here today. You will not want to miss a thing. Hello everybody, Paul Smith and Arjuna Kankapati here once again for you. And well, the All-Stars are certainly going to give us plenty of thrills and spills for the final time in the 718 Cayman.
It's a good fitting combo, I think, as well, Paul. The slightly slower speed car is going to mean closer racing, and we've already seen in the practice session that these drivers continue to roll their way on through. Just how frenetic it is going to be, and that is with just 14 cars out on the track. It's going to be even crazier when we get to the Super Cup with 29 cars on the track.
Well, I mean, just looking at what's been happening during the time that the drivers get to practice, I mean, we've been getting some crazy stuff. Like I say, this is just in the practice session before qualifying here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 3 wide's going to be, I think, the norm for most of the day. It's going to be interesting to see how much we're going to get to talk to the drivers, knowing that if they're this close in warm-up, how close are they going to be and how focused are they going to be during the racing itself?
Yeah, this promises to have some incredible action here today for you. We're going to be seeing cars pushing the limits and then some around here. So as we say, this is the All-Stars in their warm-up, and well, they were two by two pretty much all the way through their pack there. So we'll get some great action here, and well, unfortunately, it all came to a bit of a spill at the end.
And well, it all kicks off a little bit more after that. The run-up through the S is traditionally where we expect the drama. But like you mentioned, Paul, the final time that we will see these drivers out in the 718 Cayman GT4 before we go to a legendary Porsche racing car, the Porsche 911 RSR GTE car that is going to be saying goodbye to the world here in 2023.
Yeah, it's certainly going to give us some tremendous racing. Is that one as well as we go out? But this is how the two cars compare. You've got the Cup car on the right-hand side, and then the 718 Cayman here on the left-hand side. And as you can see, slightly smaller capacity engine, lower horsepower, slightly heavier. It's like the smaller car as well as the Cayman. Less aerodynamics for them to be able to really take advantage of grip, so it's all about the mechanical grip of this car.
It's also a chassis that some would suggest is the superior Porsche chassis with a mid-engine configuration, but that's an argument to go onto the internet about. Here's a look at our format though. With 10 minutes of open qualifying, the slipstream plays its part to set the grid for the first 14-lap race. Of course, after that, with a fixed setup, we'll invert the field for the main event with 22 laps on offer here at a oval-style race that we're going to see, I think, plenty of slipstreaming from.
We certainly are, and yeah, you pretty much said it right on the nail there. Neil, it is just pretty much an oval around here today, and we're going to see some setup shenanigans from the pros a little bit later on this evening. But these All-Stars, it's just 7 turns, but it's all important. All these turns just lead into one each another. And it gives us drivers the opportunity of getting that slipstream, getting that ability to make some overtakes here today. And well, if you do want further information about the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup, then do check on out the iRacing.com/PESC for all the details. And while you're on the iRacing website, if you're not a member already, why not join us here on iRacing, iRacing.com, and log on, get yourself a new membership. All new memberships are 40% off right now, so every day is a race day here on iRacing. And well, we're getting ourselves towards the start of this race, Arjuna. The All-Stars, this first race, it's all about survival, really, isn't it?
It's a 90-feet climb from the bottom of the S's all the way up into the outer loop where it's going to be frenetic. And the one thing to expect after that as they work their way off the corner is Casey Kerwin to try and maximize track limits and to infuriate Paul Smith.
Don't worry, you won't hear that much from me, but it is Casey Kerwin on pole position. Alongside him, Kenny 500 with a sensational qualifying session. Tony Kanaan and Quirk sharing row number 2. Can the best friends get on once again? Pablo Lopez and Jardier on row number 3. 4th row of the grid here today is going to be shared by Dave Cam and Straddy, with Heike 360 and Dan Suzuki on the next row of the grid. Love 46 and Emery on row number 6. And the final few positions. Basic Ollie and Matt Malone. Congratulations to Matt Malone and his family. A new baby into the household. And then right at the back of the field, with the time, Boljazazo. So we've got a 15-car grid here in this opening race. 2 races, as you saw, with the format. So it'll be a great way to see how things go. And don't forget as well, the entire grid from the results of this race get inverted for the main race here in the All-Stars. So get set for 14 laps of action as the revs rise here at Watkins Glen. We're underway here in the Porsche Heuer eSports All-Stars. Down towards turn number 1. Casey Kerwin gets a good launch, but Kenny 500 is right there alongside him. Tony Kanaan slotting in to 3rd place, and well, it's Pablo Lopez sneaking through into 4th ahead of Quirk. So Quirk just losing out at the start here as they go up the climb now through the S's. And it's really narrows down, does the track through there. High speed, full throttle. And drivers now looking at the slipstreams, looking at the draft here in the early going.
And usually even when NASCAR comes here, they take the bus stop. So this is a layout that is unusually used for us, regardless of real or virtual racing. And so that's why I think we're all so excited. It puts a little bit of a different complexion on the racing that we'll see. There's Casey Kerwin taking his liberties with track limits, but it does give him the insight into the penultimate corner. So as much as Kenny 500 may want to try and get the push from TK in his returning Texaco Racing car, it is going to be Casey Kerwin that holds on for the time.
Yeah, and well, Tony Kanaan, now if anybody knows how to run in a draft and in a pack like this, my money is on TK, because he has got that real world experience. He can bring it into the virtual world. He won't be panicking right now. He knows there's plenty of time to make moves here, Arjuna, and he's got the best seat in the house right now.
It's a good thing that he doesn't have a certain Arjuna in the spotter stand, because back in 2020 when the world, closed itself down, I was on the spotter stand for TK in a 500-mile race in Indiana, and unfortunately, well, my spotting wasn't good enough. I'm curious how much the automated spotter is going to help here, Paul. The one thing that we do know is it's got a limit of 3 wide as TK gets a shove from the Pulpo Lopez.
Oh, well, that's one way of trying to work your way through on TK. But do you know what? That actually gave him a little bit of impetus to move ahead of Kenny 500 as they're going 2 by 2. They've got to be careful to not let Casey Kerwin run away at the front here. Through the penultimate corner, nicely cambered is that corner for you. You can carry more speed than you imagine. Slightly tighter right-hander to finish off the lap, but again, cambered in your favour. So this circuit really does promote 2-3 wide action. And speaking of 3 wide action, we've got that right now. Down into turn 1, Dave Cam, dive to the inside, up to 3rd. But now TK, well, he just slots in behind for the time being.
Is Casey Kerwin going to be able to break away through all of this? Because as much as we've been hyping up a drafting fest, all the fighting for second on back has allowed him to slightly extend the margin as they crest their way up through the S's once more. It's almost 2 wide behind, with Emily Jones and Heike 360 squabbling over what is 10th position. But as we jump on board with Dan Suzuki in the Apex Racing Academy car, he sees Yardier in front, but not close enough to send it into the outer loop.
Now, one thing that these drivers will have to contend with is going into the carousel there at turn number 5, is that there is a nasty bump where the bus stop chicane returns back onto the track. There's a nasty bump there that if you're not careful, it can actually unsettle your car when you're on the brakes and send you flying off to the scene of an accident. So you have to be careful when going into the carousel here on that outside line, as the drivers do work their way through already to the start of lap number 4 here. It's Casey Kerwin ahead of Kenny 500, Dave Cam 3rd, Tony Kanaan in 4th place ahead of Quirk. Pablo Lopez, unusually, in 6th place. We're used to seeing Pablo a bit further up the field, aren't we?
It was open qualifying, which again meant that the draft played a bit of a factor. How you timed your laps out as well. There were a few incidents in qualifying, and I think Pablo got tripped up in a couple of those ones, but he's now going to have plenty of draft to the inside of Quirk, who's going to have a half smile as TK still continues to feed him a decent dose of the draft. But side by side into the corner, Pablo on through. Strati has to cut off Emily Jones as they work their way through the right-hander as Heike 360, well, fortunately saves his car.
Oh yeah, just keeps it out the wall. Nicely done there by Heike 360, but that does move him all the way to the back of the field here. So one little mistake there, and because it's just a long train of cars, well, you end up at the back of that field. You know what? I would love to see a big grid of, say, like 30 or 40 of these cars, all having a bit of fun at Talladega. What about you, Arjuna?
Ooh. Talladega may be a bit too big. You know how they do for rookie iRacers at street stocks at Charlotte? Why don't we go to Charlotte with these cars? That might work. Could
do, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're getting plenty of oval action here, though. Here's TK, you can see him on the screen now, and he's focused. Nice and relaxed, though. There is Kenny 500 holding the inside line. Dave Cam's going to go wide. And late move from TK. There you see that nasty bump. As Dave Cam deciding to go around the outside. That does mean that you can utilise this runoff area with that wide line. Carry more speed out of that turn 5 into turn 6, the penultimate corner. And TK is going to follow through. So he's followed Dave Cam into 3rd place now, has Tony Kanaan, with almost... we're almost at the end of lap 6, and Casey Kerwin's not been able to run away at the front.
But he's still not really being challenged, and now Dave Cam's going to have to claw back a half a second or so to be able to challenge that XSET gaming machine. To your point on the bump as well, one thing to remember with this Cayman, you just see it in the way that it moves. It's a lot more wallowy, it's a lot more soft in its suspension. And with this fixed setup, it means the drivers, like you say, have to be a bit more concerned about it. We'll see it when it comes to that Super Cup later on, Paul, with that stiffer sprung 911 Cup car that's basically just going to ride itself over the bump as nice as you'd like.
Heading down this back straightaway once again then. So Kerwin from Cam, from TK, and Kenny 500 feeling the need to go a little bit defensive on Pablo Lopez in 5th place. So Pablo trying to move forward in all of this to come out of 5 once again. Plunge down towards turn number 6. Porsche Zazo right now. He's got eyes forward, and well, he's only focusing on one thing, and that's trying to move forward in this field, but he's fallen back a little bit from Love 46 right now. So he'll be hoping to get back onto the tail of this. And this is the problem, Arjuna. If you're at the back and you drop back a little bit and lose that draft, everybody else in front of you has got a draft and is pulling away. Meanwhile, you're just sat there going, I'd like to get close to them.
It does help when you get moves made in front that check up a couple of cars. Pablo Lopez up the inside of Kenny 500, who now drops from the outside of the front row down to 5th position. But we are going to disturb one of our drivers as Casey Kerwin joins us in the broadcast booth. Casey, how are you feeling with the pressure in the rearview mirrors?
Good so far. It's obviously, you know, big draft track. So basically like an oval, just returning right for 4 corners. But it's, yeah, good so far. I got away there for a bit when they got to battling, but the old draft train's back. So we'll see how we shake out here. I'm sure it's gonna get crazier in the last few laps.
I've got to ask about your line out of the outer loop in practice. It seemed like you were more interested in rallycross than actually staying on the tarmac.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. You can, you know, just open up the wheel and fly out to the wall and then go jumping through the grass a bit. I may or may not have been practicing it in case we need it, you know, you never know. So if someone gets underneath us, we get run wide there, you know, I'm ready for it.
So, as someone who's, of course, competed in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, how does something like this compare to a Daytona or a Talladega that you guys have in your super speedway style racing?
Yeah, it's similar with the way the draft is. It's obviously not quite as completely packed up because we do still have to brake and lift in some corners, but the way you try and time runs and the bump drafting that Dave and Tony are doing behind me now kind of works out the same. So yeah, you kind of got to pick and choose where you're going to go and hope it works out. So.
Well, you got a car to your inside, so I'll leave you to actually fight now on track as Dave Cam tries to fire it up the inside. Yardier did drop back to 14th while we were having that chat with Casey, and they're starting to get intense 4 wide for a moment.
Yeah, we're halfway through this race only. I mean, come on, we've got another half of this race to go. You've got Dave Cam going for the lead. Yardier had that problem, and that meant that he's dropped down the order. But yeah, 2 wide for the lead. You can see that on the top of your screen there. And at the bottom of your screen, 8th place is Emery right now, so Emily Jones. But there's just been a little bit of separation, and it was through a little mistake from Yardier. So we'll hopefully get a look at that at some point. But yeah, these drivers now, they're starting to show their intentions, aren't they, Arjuna?
I was just wondering where all the craziness was that we saw in warm-up, and it's like they had to wait till the halfway point of the race to actually start to kick things off, and I think from now we should expect it to be a bit more frenetic. You've got the Pulpo Lopez trying to push TK, who's trying to push Dave Cam. I wonder if it's going to be TK or Pablo that are more able to get past Casey, and maybe if they can work together. Dave's had one crack at the apple. Let's see if he can do it again.
Well, don't forget that Dave is actually a race winner here in the All-Stars this season at Long Beach, and he put on a masterful display of defensive driving there. Slightly different type of circuit, but tell you what, it's really suiting him as this car and track combination. He has really come alive here, and Dave, I know he does a series of videos of the last to first challenge. And, well, he's not started last, but he's certainly been moving through the field. Into 2nd place for Dave right now, as the front 3 trying to work their way clear. Pablo Lopez is dragging Quirk along with him. Straddy in 6th place. Another good position for him as we go and through the S's. And here is what happened a few laps ago.
It's Yardier on the inside, as I think that's Kenny 500 getting ready to climb up through the S's. A bit of contact through the first part, and then they come through the left. I'm not sure if Yardier tries to self-clear himself, but fortunately doesn't slam the wall on the right side too hard, loses just a bit of momentum, and is able actually to stay with the pack. He's back up to 13th already. Yeah,
he's managed to stem the flow there and get himself back up there. But yeah, it was just the slightest of contact. And like we said, the S's was where we were thinking we were going to have issues, didn't we? It's the natural place for there to be accidents. I mean, I do remember a few years ago, there was actually a Porsche championship race here with the Cup car, and it was a complete track blockage of the exit of the S's. So it is known to happen in real world, not just in the simulator.
This is one of the few tracks that I've actually seen trigger the iRacing automatic caution system for road courses. It's I've seen it twice, and it's both happened at Watkins Glen, so it's not totally uncommon. Right across here at the top of the S's for things to fan out and get chock-a-blocked up. Fortunately, we haven't seen that so far in the race. It's still 3.5 laps to go. Dave Cam on the back of Casey Kerwin once again, but he's not going to go for it this time around. It also has compressed up once again as well. We have 15 cars split by less than 3.5 seconds.
When do you make the move? If you're Dave Cam right now, when do you make the move? Do you go the next lap and hope that then they move back past you the penultimate lap, and then that gives you the opportunity on the final lap, or do you just try and hold position until the final lap?
I mean, Casey's showing us that you can hold the lead if you're Casey Kerwin. Now the question is, what does that mean for everyone else? I would suspect you wait until it's 2 laps to go, because it may take a lap for you to get the move done, and from there, well, it's going to be everyone going helter-skelter to the checkered flag.
Well, 3 to go here. Oh, the 46 has dropped down the order. You can see it on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen there. And it's fast and frenetic here through the S's. Cars absolutely flying through there. Kerwin from Dave Cam, from Tony Kanaan. Here goes Dave Cam then. A lap earlier than Arjuna said to do it. We'll see whether this pans out for him. TK now, Tony Kanaan, where does he go in all of this? Does he try and follow Dave, or does he try and stick with Casey? Well, they're going too wide through the carousel. And on the exit of the carousel, heading towards turn 6, this left-hander. Dave Cam's still there, though. They're still side by side. Can they get the move done? Well, it's slowing each other down, and everybody else is queued up right now. They're all waiting at the cash register, waiting for the cashier to serve the front two.
Yeah, this was the danger of waiting. Dave is going to lead at the line, though, as they cross to take 2 to go. However, Casey again on the inside as they dive down through the 90. Dave will be able to run a little bit wider, carry a bit more momentum. But as they start this climb up through the S's once again, Dave now in the lead for a moment. Casey still alongside. Who's going to get the shove from behind?
Well, Tony Kanaan is looking left and right. He's going, well, I want a piece of this action now. I want to make some moves. And look at this. Hard to the right-hand side of the track. It's very clear what the move is here for Dave Cam. Defend that inside line coming into the carousel. But we've seen from Dave Cam the previous lap that he can hang it up around the outside. They're almost rubbing door handles between the two of them on corner exit. Across they go, and then Casey Kerwin back to the head of the field for the time being, and we're going to be starting the final lap of the race. And Pablo Lopez now feeling the need to get involved in all of this with Tony Kanaan not able to make a move, and Emery and Quirk, don't forget the championship fight that those two had last year. They're 5th and 6th places. Don't write those two off either as we head on to the final lap here, Arjuna.
Almost went 3 wide for a moment. I think that was for 8th or so on back, but out of turn number 1, Casey Curran has a good lead, but it's all allowing Dave Cam to get the maximum usage of that draft as they climb up through the S's for one final time in the sprint race. They are 3 wide behind. Stradi, Emery, and Quirk somehow survive, with Stradi getting up into 5th. But for the lead, here comes Dave Cam.
Dave Cam then making his move at the front. You can see it on screen. We've got that fight for 8th place as well. Well, 5th down to 8th going on as well. Cam not able to make the move into the carousel. We've got Emily around. Emily Jones is around at the carousel. But back to the front of your field right now. It is still Casey Kerwin hanging on to the lead. He's led all but 1 lap in this race through the penultimate corner. Can he hold on to it? Can look at maybe a run out the final corner, but I think it's going to be too little, too late for Dave Cam. It's going to be Casey Kerwin who takes the win here in the sprint race from Dave Cam, and Tony Kanaan, your front 3. Tremendous action all the way through the field there. That was simply sensational stuff. Final 2 cars are going to be Emery and Love 46, but Arjuna, that was... It bubbled away, didn't it, through that race?
It did. It just petered off a little bit because Casey was just so dominant at the very end, but we're going to fully invert the field, and now he'll have to fight his way back to the front.
And it's Casey Kerwin from Dave Cam, Tony Kanaan and Pablo Lopez round out the top 4 with Stradic, Quirk and Kenny 500 in 7th. Dan Suzuki, Paul Gizazo and Matt Malone round out your top 10. Jardier with Basic Ollie, Heike 360 Emery and Love 46 round out your field. But of course, as Arjuna says, it is an inversion of the entire grid for the main race here. 22 laps these drivers are going to be facing in that main race, so we're going to get plenty more action coming up for you. Do stick around for this Porsche Tag Heuer eSports All-Stars. And well, Arjuna, we get a winner in Casey Kerwin. We tried our best, didn't we, to put him off, but unfortunately for us in the commentary box, it didn't quite pan out how we wanted it to, and to let Dave Cam win.
Yeah, Casey Kerwin came into this race with a 100-point lead in the championship halfway through the season. He's going to continue extending that margin at the front. This was one of those tracks that we were coming into it, both for these All-Stars and for the Supercup, kind of thinking it's the final wildcard track that we've got. We've got a lot of technical tracks coming up after this Spa, the trip over to the Nordschleife, and then over to the Circuit de la Sarthe, for, of course, finishing up at Monza, which is going to be equally crazy. But let's see what a full invert will do. How quickly can Kerwin and company work on forward?
Well, as you touched on the schedule, there is also the final race coming up for us with the 718 Cayman before we head on over to Spa, Nürburgring, and as you said, Circuit de la Sarthe. The final round with the Mission R is going to be a real treat for everyone. Is that there's the update of the championship points. 110 points now. Casey Kerwin is clear. I think somebody needs to go around into his pit stall and slash a couple of his tyres just to try and slow him down. But here we go. Here's your grid. It is Love 46 and Emery on the front row of the grid with Heike 360 and Basic Ollie row 2. Row 3 for Yardier and Matt Malone. Fourth row of the grid for Porsche Zazo and Dan Suzuki with Kenny 500 and Quirk sharing row number 5. Stradi and Pablo Lopez on row number 6. Seventh row of the grid, Tony Kanaan and Dave Cam with Casey Kerwin starting all on his own on row number 8. So, Watkins Glen, it's time to go bowling, as the sign says, but hopefully we won't go bowling with these cars.
No, hopefully not. Otherwise, the new damage model is definitely going to get a workout for a 22-lap race. So give it about 28 minutes or so of racing, just under that, depending on how frenetic it takes. The action is for the drivers to work their way on forward. There was a couple of slip-ups at the very end of that race. Love 46, the worst of the hit drivers, but Yardier got mixed up in that one as well. Plenty of excitement, I think, for this second race of our event.
Don't forget as well, these drivers are fighting to be in the top 5 of the championship to win themselves a Tag Heuer connected watch. So it is a watch that I wouldn't mind getting my hands on myself, but there you go. No matter how many times I say it in these broadcasts, it never pans out. But we're getting set for this main race at Watkins Glen. It is round number 6 of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports All-Stars. Green flag, away we go. Love 46 and Emery getting a good start from the front row of the grid. Heike 360 falling into line in 3rd place, and Basic Ollie making some moves on Heike 360 into turn 1. Out of turn 1 they go, up through the S's for the first time here in this main race. As we say, 22 laps of action that we're going to get here in this one, and the 2 wide further forward and further back in this field. And Heike 360 is really losing out on this one already, dropping down the order. The front 2 of Love 46 and Emery, if they can work together, they could make a real breakaway here at the front.
Potentially, especially if they keep squabbling behind. Emery around the outside should be able to use the liberal track limits, but a big wiggle through the corner. Has to grab control.
Oh!
That's Basic Ollie's going to send them bowling. 3 cars, 4 cars going around.
That is a huge incident there. Huge one. Yardier, Stradi, Basic Ollie. I think Pablo Lopez was caught up in that one as well. And it was all from Emily Jones trying to go around the outside and forgetting that we've got cold tyres. There's not that many corners around here, so it takes a little bit longer for those tyres to come into pressure and temperature.
Wow, that shows just how difficult it can be. I think that we had a separate incident outside of Emery's half spin, because Basic Ollie, I think, came together with Yardier, and we'll get a replay, I'm sure, at some point, but how did we get through that one? I think Pablo Lopez had to really check his momentum up and then come down pit lane to get damage repairs even after all of that.
Yeah, Pablo, I mean, fortunately for these drivers, there are unlimited free repairs, so they can just get down pit road, quickly get a free repair done to these cars. It encourages them to carry on these races. Dave Cam up to 10th place now down the inside of Porsche Zazo. Casey Kerwin is on a charge along with Tony Kanaan. 6th and 7th places for those two right now. But Love 46, a 1.5 second lead. She's broken the slipstream. She's broken the draft here. If she can keep it on the grey stuff, this could be a race win here potentially.
It's all going to depend on how much I think they fight behind. draft not such a big factor in iRacing as of the most recent update, much to the chagrin of certain people on social media. However, 1.5 seconds is just on the outer limits in these GT4 cars, so Heike 360 still going to get a decent tow as they begin that climb from the lowest point on this layout of Watkins Glen. And already the gap down to about 1.4 seconds momentarily, as we'll take a look at what happened on that opening lap.
Yeah, we certainly will. So it was down into the carousel. Emily Jones tries to go around the outside. It's not quite as much grip around there. And look, the back end just steps out. And then Basic Ollie and Yardier get together. Emily is lucky in all of that. But somebody who isn't lucky is Stradi and also Pablo Lopez.
So I thought Pablo maybe got through on the inside. He got squeezed off very, very wide, unfortunately. I think Yardier didn't recognize that Emily had gone wide. Maybe Basic Ollie did, and so there was bumper-to-bumper contact there. And, well, I think Stradi may have retired, unfortunately, as a result of that one, because he needed to take a tow back to the pit lane.
Yeah, he's sat on pit road right now, not going anywhere fast, unfortunately. Matt Malone and Quirk at the second and third. We're on board with Casey Kerwin, up to 6th place for him. Tony Kanan is in 5th now, so those two keep on moving forward in this one. But Malone and Quirk, they're busy fighting it out. They are allowing Love 46 to pull away. Last lap, they were pretty much about 6/100ths of a second difference between Love 46 and Matt Malone. She is pulling away at the front, so we've got the opportunity here of a first ever win here in the All-Stars for Love 46, but Quirk and Matt Malone, I think there's a little bit of bump drafting going on there.
Yep, I definitely think the chrome horn is being used to try and assist the 83 car to just get through the corner a little bit quicker, but it's going to be Matt Malone that runs all the way out wide, and Quirk's going to take the tighter line, and maybe they're going to be side by side into that penultimate corner, which is only going to slow them down very slightly. Fortunately, they all get it figured out in time. In terms of our lap times, Paul, like you said, it was very close at the front between first and second, but they are amongst the fastest cars on track outside of Kenny 500, who did a 1:12.054 last time by, the second quickest car on track.
Well, we are joined by Jardier then on board right now, and I mean, just talk us through that opening lap. What happened there?
I honestly have no idea. Like, I was right behind Ollie, and then was Emily off the track, or like left off the track, and on the exit of the corner, I suddenly hit with Ollie. So I don't know if my exit was just too good, and I completely misjudged it. But I take all the blame, all the fault. Of course, very big sorry to Ollie and the rest of the drivers.
I mean, it was very pretty doing synchronized spinning, though, I must say. Both of you went the same way, that is for sure. But, you know, how can you try and get back to this pack? Because it is so difficult around this track, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's a super close racing, but as you can see, like, any mistake can make disaster. As in the first race, I had a netcode contact with Kenny. But he was like, I don't know, half a meter next to me, but we still made a contact, which was really, really scary. And in the second race, yeah, something bad happened as well. But just, yeah, big sorry to Ollie and everyone involved.
Well, thank you very much, Yardia. We'll let you get off there and enjoy the rest of your race. Arjuna, though, we are joined, and you're joined by Love 46.
Yeah, hello, guys.
Building up a margin at the front. How are you feeling with some clean air at Watkins Glen?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. Just trying to keep it clean and finish this race. So that's my favorite track. Will be a pleasure to win here.
Oh, so it's your favorite track. Can you talk us through what happened then in the previous race at the very final lap? Because you were the one that got the worst of it.
Unfortunately, I moved, so Matt Malone moved a little bit, and I moved because of this and touched Jardier. And unfortunately, then I lost the car due to netcode with Matt Malone, so that's racing. That was a good fight.
Gotcha. Well, enjoying the time at the front. You say it's your favorite track. Is this your favorite layout at Watkins Glen, though?
I really like this layout. I raced it with the Porsche Cup, and I really like it, so.
Well, we'll leave you be to focus on the driving. Good luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you, guys.
Hopefully we'll be talking to you after the checkered flag as well.
Yeah, see you.
Always good to hear from our drivers during the race, Arjuna, and always good to be hearing in a positive sense from Love 46 out there at the front. She's not had the best of luck. I mean, it's fair to say that if she didn't have bad luck, she'd have no luck at all.
Yeah, because she started in the inverted full grid at the front before, and it's not gone well for her, unfortunately. So it's good that she's able to enjoy it right now, but you can see behind the snaking, the weaving back and forth like there in Indianapolis in the month of May. However, it doesn't always help you at this point because you're traveling a further distance. As they're funneling into the corner, you can see them all kind of checking each other up. We'll see the lap times this time by, because even with our distraction, Love 46 still maintaining a pretty decent rhythm.
Yeah, certainly is, and that's what you need to do around here, is have that rhythm. There's just 3 seconds, no, about 2 seconds covering second to 11th here. It is crazy close here in this front of the field, but we have got best part of 2 seconds. Oh, Matt Malone looked like he almost got into the safer barrier then on the exit of turn 7. Will that compromise him down into turn 1? No, it won't. Emily Jones, after that hairy moment at the carousel on lap number 1, finds herself in 4th place. I think she would have been maybe thinking she'd be further down the order after that moment on lap 1.
Yes, probably. That was a big moment as well. Great save with cold tires, because of course low pressures, you're waiting for them to get up into that window, and especially in these GT4 cars, it doesn't sometimes just take 1 lap, it can take 2 or 3 laps to get them into that proper window. And now we're going to see the continued fight for second as Matt Malone jinks his way to the inside, but Quirk carries that momentum all the way around the right-hand sweeper, and unfortunately not going to take too much liberties with the track, I think, this time, because they're all going to funnel their way back over to the right as they head down to the final sector.
Emily's trying to get involved here now. She's trying to see if there's any places to be had in all of this as they come through towards the final corner once again. And it's still Quirk ahead of Matt Malone. And, well, speak of the devil, well, congratulations, I think, is first in order, Matt. Congratulations on the birth of your child.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're congratulating me on 10 years on iRacing? Oh, yeah, my other kid. Yeah.
Well, there is 10 years, a decade on iRacing. I mean, that's some good going as well.
Yeah, look what a success I am after 10 years of iRacing.
Well, you're involved in this fight right now, but you've got some very fast drivers, a fast Australian who's trying to make her way through here, bump drafting you along. How are you dealing with the pressure here?
Yeah, I'm not dealing with it very well. I'm sweating. Everyone behind me wants to be in front of me. Oh, she's gonna kill me! Look out! Avoided.
Well, that's great avoidance whilst getting interviewed. I mean, that
Easy.
Shows that you can multitask there, Matt.
Yeah, well, after 10 years of this, I can avoid all the crazies pretty easily. We gotta hunt down Love 46 though. She's running a great race right now. Even us bump drafting, we can't even catch her.
Yeah, it's certainly going great for her at the front there. But Matt, you've been doing this for so long now. What is your tips for this circuit and this venue?
Well, you need help. I mean, this is draft lock. You need help. You need somebody like Quirk in front of you, getting the slipstream. You need somebody like Hecky behind you, giving you a little push, and just see if you can fall in line, go easy. You don't want any crazy inputs on any of your pedals or your steering wheel. Just go nice and easy. Just feed it through the slipstream. You'll be fine.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll let you just focus up and try and keep in that podium position, Matt.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Always entertaining with Matt Malone here in the commentary booth, Arjuna. And, well, what a time to join him, right as Emily Jones was having a moment.
I feel like that's going to be worthy of an Emmy or an Oscar. Depends if you think it's scripted or non-scripted. Side by side, though, as Matt Malone battles with Casey Kerwin, who's up to those podium positions. He's been quietly biding his time, but not even to the halfway point of this race, with Quirk now only 1.6 off the back of Love 46 in the lead, is Casey Kerwin, get the Jaws music out, getting ready to fight his way back to the point.
Yeah, that's it. He's in 3rd place now. He's got eyes set on that race lead. Love 46 last lap was a 12.3 12.3 by Quirk as well, so they're not gaining that much on the 46 right now at the front. She's keeping a healthy margin here as we reach the halfway point of this race. There's still another half of this race to go, RG, and already we've seen some craziness.
Yeah, but Casey Curran did a 1:12.0 last time. He's also, I think, got the fastest lap of the race. It's a 1:11.8. And he's there, and now with a little bit of clean air for himself to start enjoying. So I feel like first Quirk is going to have an almighty tussle on his hands. And then Love 46 hopefully will have enough laps that Casey Curran isn't going to be allowed to dominate his way back to the front, because we really need to make his life as difficult as possible. Whether that means next time we put him in the GT4 while everyone else is in the RSR, I think that might be a good idea.
I think that'd be a little bit more fair. Here's what happened then. Whilst we were talking to Matt Malone, Emily, we're on board with Emery right now, and onto the brakes and just a tap from behind, I feel, and then off she goes. Again, incredible car control to be able to hold on to that one around the carousel.
Yeah, and just watch from up above. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Tony Kanaan get the fender out right there. Yep, and well, I tell you what, it was still a left a side of that bumper as well, and that's why it was so awkward for Emily, but brilliant job to slow it down in time, and only dropping to 11th position at the tail end of this pack that now stretches from 2nd to 11th. As we are officially past the halfway mark of the race, Matt Malone goes to try and find back 4th position from Heike 360.
Yeah, Heike 360 is trying to get a bit of a shift on here in this race. He's been missing that little bit of an edge that he had last season, and he'll be wanting to get himself a good result here in this main race here today. This is round number 6 of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports All-Stars. Pleasure to have you all along watching this one, because well, this has been entertaining, and you won't want to go anywhere, because on the hour we've then got the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup coming up for you, and 30 of some of the best sim racers in the whole of iRacing, they are going on. But Aljuna, we're joined by one of our drivers.
And Tony Kanaan rejoins us as a Porsche All-Star. TK, this must feel a little bit more familiar to you in terms of this is what we're dubbing an oval race.
Right. I mean, it's you know, it's a pack race. You got to be careful. You got to play your cards right. And obviously, I did not. I need to apologize to Emery. I gave her a little tap. I'm gonna have to pay my 10 subs to her stream when we're done. But you know, so far we have a little bit of damage. So let's see what we can do here.
I'm glad that you owned up to it, so we didn't have to grill you a little bit more on that. Talk to everyone a little bit more about your involvement in sim racing, TK, because I was looking through social media a few weeks ago and I saw a facility that you are starting to work on.
Yeah, we're building a headquarter here in Indy. It's gonna be gonna have 8 sims. The plan is to actually do long races here, invite all the streamers. Maybe next year at PESC we have Malone, Quirk, and a bunch of the guys to come and do it live. Quirk already came to the house once this year. You guys saw it, so I'm excited. Obviously, I own one team in the Coca-Cola NASCAR team, and I have, you know, coming up next, Gustavo Ariel, that was the first Brazilian to win one of the PESC races. So you know, so far so good for somebody that didn't do sim 4 years ago. I think I came a long ways, but I keep saying that my real job keeps me getting better on the sim.
Let's talk a bit about your teams as well, because Kanaan eSports and eNASCAR are looking great, but you mentioned it, Gustavo Ariel, the first Brazilian winner in the Porsche eSports Supercup. How excited were you to see that momentum from him, because it was a run of form that was bubbling up. It wasn't unexpected to see him grab the victory.
Yeah, I mean, when I built the team, Gustavo is one of the biggest talents in Brazil that is trying to, like, you know, a bunch of the sim racers make into the real world. So I could not sponsor him in the real world, so I said, listen, let me try to help you here. Maybe that can lead up to something. So I'm working on it. Maybe some Stock Car Brazil in the future for him. We'll see. But I was so proud of him. The kid works really hard. I mean, he runs the team with me and Carlos. So well deserved. And we'll see. I mean, he actually, when he did the qualification race here, he won this race, so expectations are pretty high today, but we'll see. I mean, this track is like an oval. You don't know what to expect, so
Well, best of luck for the future, TK. Hopefully we'll see you on the grid for many more races, and maybe Gustavo Aero can be the second Brazilian iRacing World Champion, Paul.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, maybe he could be. Of course, going back in time there, Arjuna. Hugo Luis winning the second ever iRacing World Championship Grand Prix series back in the day. I will say one thing though. Where was our invite? He said streamers, but he didn't say about commentators.
Well, I'm going to be up in Indy a couple of times this year, so I'll be making sure that I try and get myself an invite. You know, you're not wrong.
I'm sure I can find the airfare. As we go along, the gap has closed up at the front of the field. It's less than half a second now. And I can tell you that Quirk managed to catch up on the last lap alone half a second. So Love 46 has been reeled in now. And with 7 to go at the line, what does she do? She can't panic here. She just needs to run her race.
Like I said, Jaws music. I mean, just get that queued up right now, because in the rearview mirror, you've got Casey Kerwin coming at a rate of knots. And reminder of what we showed of the warm-up. It was 3 wide, a couple rows deep of 2 wide at times. We know how intense this sort of racing can be. It kind of petered off at the end of the sprint race, if we're being honest, because Casey Kerwin just had such a lock on the race lead. It does not seem as though it's this way as Casey Kerwin pushes Quirk to the outside.
Yeah, they've made that move. Quirk's gone a little deep there, though. Is he going to hang it out around the outside? And Casey Kerwin's saying, all right, where do I go here? There's just a wall of Porsche 718 Cayman in front of Kerwin and in front of Heike 360, who's coming to the inside of Casey right now. So Casey Kerwin's not got everything going his own way here as they go through the final corner. Still at the front though, Quirk getting ahead of Love 46 then, for position, Arjuna.
Absolutely. I think we've got Quirk to disturb a little bit right now. Quirk, first I'm going to ask you the question that's been on my mind since last night when I was watching on your stream. Why do you use Comic Sans on your steering wheel?
Oh, it's just the best. It's the best. It gets people going.
Got me going, that's for sure. Casey, we've got you trying to climb your way up the field. How's it been driving through some of that chaos on the opening lap?
It's been a little chaotic, but it's been fun, and we got up to Quirk there and got him up there to the lead. So it's the whole field's with us, so it's gonna stay pretty crazy to the end here, I'm sure. But yeah, it's gonna be crazy like the end of the sprint. But I think we got more laps to work with than when we had this many cars at the end of the sprint. So yeah, it's just gonna be chaos to the end here.
It's fun going 2 wide here.
Do you trust, Quirk, that you've got Casey behind you? Or is that worrying you, the fact that you've got him there?
Do I trust Casey?
Yes.
You know what? I do trust him. I trust him to slow everyone down.
Casey, I do want to ask you about tire conservation at a track like this. Does it matter in the Cayman?
Yeah, I think it does a little bit here, just because it's all, even though it's only 4 corners, it's all like medium to high speed right-hand corners. So if you're not thinking about your left front a bit and you keep shoving the left front, it's eventually going to hurt you towards the end of the stint. But it's not a huge thing, but I definitely think if you can manage it pretty well, it can be an advantage towards the end here. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a factor, but nothing too much.
I was just about to ask when you're going to go for the move, but Quirk's asking you to bump him, Casey.
Yeah, we're going to try and wait this out for a bit here.
2 laps to go?
Well, now Quirk messed it up. Figure it out, buddy!
Oh, no. There's no waiting. It's over.
Now the whole field's coming.
Well, we're going to leave you to the freight train that's rolling up from behind. Thanks for joining us, guys. 1 and 2 side by side through the penultimate corner. What could go wrong?
I think we got our answer there. So what could go wrong? Oh my goodness. Well, these two are still duking it out at the front. It's like 2 heavyweight boxers just putting the little jabs in. And here comes Love 46 to the inside as well into 1. It's 3 wide through 1. Love 46, she's not giving this one up yet. She led most of this race. Is back to the head of the field here, Arjuna. This is great stuff to watch.
And this is what we saw in warm-up and we're kind of expecting a little bit more. Casey said it, in the sprint they didn't have enough laps to get formed up like this and build the kinetic energy. Malone's in the equation as well. Heike 360 got a great run out of turn number 1, but with Casey Cohen up towards the point and his experience in these sort of situations, surely he'll place himself in the right time.
Oh no!
500 sees Casey Cohen spin it through out to the outer loop.
Oh, and Love 46, after all that time at the front of the field, gets collected by Casey Kerwin. Kerwin's engine is done. He's out of this one. Quirk's dropping down the order as well. Oh, no, that was so close. And I said it, didn't I, Arjuna? If she didn't have bad luck, she'd have no luck at all. And, I mean, she's still running though. 6th place, Malone's into the wall. Malone into the wall. Heike 360 goes past. Dan Suzuki goes past. All of a sudden, Kenny 500 could be on for a win.
There's going to be a deep cleaning required in the inside of that car for Heike 360, because my days, how did he avoid running into the back of Matt Malone? And that wasn't even the craziest thing that we had on that previous lap. My days, it all bubbled up and then built up. I don't know exactly what happened there, but Kenny 500 jinked to the inside, and I think that triggered a chain reaction after that of cars just getting a bit spooked, going deep into the braking zone. Net result was Casey Kerwin going around and dropping to the back. Love 46, fortunately, is only down to 6th position, but that is still heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking, absolutely. You're spot on there with that word. Here we go. Here's the replay then. So it was Casey Kerwin trying to bump draft at Love 46's contact. Oh, it's Matt Malone gets into the back of Heike 360. It's a chain reaction into the back of Quirk. There's Casey Kerwin and Love 46 going off. Quirk's there. Oh, careful of your rejoin. In fact, wipes out Emery in all of that. Well, it was almost like an RKO out of nowhere, that one on Love 46. And unfortunately, she was the victim.
I'm surprised I didn't hear Connery Maddock in my ear right there, just screaming about that rejoin, because there is an F3 box, and Quirk forgot to use it in that case. We've got 2 laps to go, though. The question I've got, do any of these cars have some front or rear bumper damage? GT4 cars can be a little bit sensitive to that, even though they're not aerodynamic beasts. And then, who's the most aggressive of them all? Because it's Kenny 500, Heike 360, and Dan Suzuki now, with Matt Malone still in contention, but very much, I would think, 3 main horses in this fight.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be interesting how this one all pans out then. So Kenny 500 has pace. Don't forget, started the sprint race on the front row of the grid, so has got pace around this track. Heike 360 has been showing some good pace around here as well. Dan Suzuki has just been quietly going about his business in this race, and well, you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and that's exactly where Dan Suzuki is right now. As we're coming to this line now, it's a white flag in the air. 1 more lap to go. Heike 360, you don't want to be too close at the bottom of the S's. You want to get the run through the bottom of the S's, carry that momentum all the way up that back straightaway right now. But Kenny 500 is in a really good position right now. Heike 360 looking to make the move.
And you can see there is damage on the front of Heike 360's car, and so you've got to wonder, how much is that going to slow him down here, especially once he gets out of that draft and tries to maybe fight for the lead. He'll stick in that draft for as long as possible, pops himself onto the outside, into the outer loop for the final time.
Through the carousel they go, almost too wide for the lead. Trying to get the cut back is Heike 360 on Kenny 500. Absolutely neck and neck, and here comes Dan Suzuki in all that. Got a great run off the carousel into the penultimate corner. Look to the inside for Heike 360. He wants another race win here in this series. Bang! There's paint swapped. There goes Dan Suzuki down the inside, and Kenny 500 is going to be a race winner once again. My goodness, what a result here for Kenny 500 out of nowhere. And across the line, I think Matt Malone did end up on the podium here.
He pipped Heike 360 by less than 1/10 of a second, but I think the look of shock on Kenny 500's face sums up what a frenetic Royal Rumble of a race it was here today, Paul.
It certainly was. Last of the drivers coming through. I mean, the final three runners here, Pablo Lopez, Casey Kerwin and Yardier, I mean, that just goes to show what has gone on here in this race. And if you think that was crazy, well, wait until you see what the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup have got coming up for you on the hour. But we're going to the Buzz post-race show here in this one. And we will give you your unofficial race results then from the main race. Here it is. Kenny 500 ahead of Dan Suzuki. Matt Malone just pipping Kaiki 360 at the line. Dave Cam ahead of Love 46, who does get a good 6th place. Bolshazazo ahead of Emery with Quirk. And Pablo Lopez in 10th place. Casey Kerwin, Jardier and Tony Kanaan, the last of the drivers on the lead lap. Macy Colley and Straddy did not finish. That is how things went there in that race, and my goodness, it was entertainment aplenty. But Arjuna, you've got our race winner.
Back-to-back races and back-to-back wins for Christian Ortega, Kenny 500. Smile on your face. How stressful was this racing here today?
Well, absolutely. It was the most stressful race of the championship, but for me, the best race. I enjoyed a lot the race.
Well, two wins in the 7 when it came in GT4, but now, unfortunately, we say goodbye to this car and go over to the 911 RSR. Are you looking forward to that as we go over to Spa?
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. I can't believe that I advanced two victories with this car. For me, it was the worst car of the championship for my driving style, but this result is amazing. Let's see what happens in Spa.
Well, if this is the worst of the cars for your driving style, I can't wait to see what's up next. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. We'll head on over, though, to the second step of the podium, because I think we've got Dan Suzuki ready to also catch up with us here in our post-race show. And very curious to ask Dan a little bit more about how he fared over at Watkins Glen. Dan, how was that race for you? Where's the heart rate sitting right now?
Oh, yeah, heart rate is well, pretty high, I would say. I mean, I was just like minding my own business, trying to survive, and in the end, for whatever reason, it worked. So I'm happy with P2, my first podium, I think, this season. So yeah, happy with that.
You say somehow you survived, but sometimes you make your own luck. Were you trying to be a little bit careful there after what happened in that first race?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I expected both races to be way wilder. I mean, in the practice, we did some practice races, let's put it like that, and it was just a big carnage. But I think everybody was behaving in the race. But once it got a little more heated, I tried to stay out of everything, and yeah, I mean, it worked.
We saw the carnage in warm-up, don't you worry. Congratulations on the podium, and we'll see you next time in the 911 RSR at Spa.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to that.
I think we're all looking forward to that one, Paul, because 3 great races in this Cayman GT4, but now we say hello to one of the best-sounding cars in global motorsports.
I think it's a car that also gave me a bit of permanent hearing damage as well. It's Spa-Francorchamps, which is actually where we're heading to next time out here for this championship. So, yeah, those All-Stars are going to find themselves to have some real fun in the RSR and the GTE car. It's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. But what an exciting day of racing here for the All-Stars. Plenty of thrills and, unfortunately, a couple of spills. Casey Kerwin taking the win in the sprint race, and well, we had all sorts of drama happen in that main race. But you want to stick around, because coming up next, it is the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup right after this.
Your chain swinging, clang clang, and it costs a lot. I'm always at the guala, yeah, and you are not bad. Deep, keep on going till you hit the spot. Whoa, whoa, I'm a big bag hunter with the bow.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Both go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This is virtual racing with real stakes. This is fine lines, milliseconds, and 200 grand. This is insane, but that's what keeps us coming back for more. The Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup by iRacing, live on YouTube and Twitch.
It is upstate New York for round number 6 and the start the second half of the season here in the Porsche Heuer eSports Super Cup. It's Watkins Glen International around the classic layout. And well, it is Paul Smith and Arjuna Kankipati here once again for you. And we have got an absolute thrill ride coming up for you in the next hour.
We've already seen this combo in action. First in the qualifying series that led to the Contender Series at the end of 2022. I commentated on that qualifying series race by myself, Paul, and it was just one race. I lost my voice by the end of it. It's going to be insane here today. A lot of teams have developed some setup philosophies that they've talked about really being the key to maximizing qualifying.
Yeah, we'll certainly see that in action, we do believe. We've been hearing things going on in the virtual paddock. But, well, speaking of the drivers of this championship, well, it's been an absolute thrill ride last time out as well at the Red Bull Ring. And let's take you to that now. Here we are for round number 5 sprint race at Red Bull Ring, and it's a brilliant start. Can they all get through nicely?
Latte's going to get tagged by one of the Urano eSports cars, and then Mangum gets the concertina effect through all of that, and 4 copies of Lens.
Edwin Sanchez for the lead, and
Sanchez is getting absolutely swarmed. He loses out to Joe, will position Jamie Fluke down the inside.
So, never won a race here in this championship. Round number 5 of 2023. It's a good launch from the front row. So number 3, Fluke's not fighting it too hard. Running wide from Fluke. Down to it's Caruso. It is Caruso in the corner. Into us to let them by. There's contact between the rookie driver. Could he get a win here? Leaving Fluke to the inside of Sonin. He takes advantage of that play and has smiled. The delight. He's won the race here in the Porsche Heuer eSports Super Cup.
Land stateside, and it is a oval track. Yes, effectively 7 corners, but realistically 3 or 4 braking zones around the just under 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles. The last time we came here to this sort of a layout was back in 2019 when 2 drivers no longer in the series came out on top, Kevin Ellis Jr. and then Jared Filsell winning in the sprint and the main. Elevation change, well, out of the S's on that climb up the hill. It's 90 feet before you rise yourself into the outer loop. And then, Paul, we know what a roller coaster that run out into the second sector can be.
It certainly will be an intriguing race, and well, qualifying is coming up for you in just a moment's time, and to explain that, it's what we've been doing all season, but if you're new to the championship, well, we've got 2 groups of cars will be going out for qualifying. Right about now, Group A will be heading out on track, and that is all those drivers that are positioned 30th up to 6th place in the championship. They will go out for their 1-lap hot lap here in the opening portion of qualifying. And then, after they have gone out on track, it will then be up to Group B. One by one, the drivers in 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then 1st will go out one by one, and they will set their qualifying times as well. 1-lap, hot lap qualifying, it's caught a few people out, Arjun, this season, and well, it can have big championship implications.
Yeah, track limits is what has really been catching people out, but at a venue like this where the margins are going to be so fine, it's not just track limits that we're worried about today, it's this tire conditioning that drivers are doing now, but also, like we mentioned slightly earlier, how the teams have set things up for the car. This is something Altus eSports seem to have figured out back in the qualifying series, building an asymmetric car. What does that mean? Well, maybe later we'll see on board the steering offset that some of these drivers will have, but it means putting more weight of the car onto the inside tires. We turn right more than we turn left here, and so that's a compromise that overall gets you a little bit speed. It comes at the cost, though, of tire life, and it's not something that's going to be done so aggressively when we get to the races, especially the longer race coming up, of course, for the main race. But how aggressive have you been in setting up the car? And in the wing angle, well, they're all doing one thing, which is minimum wing, which is, interestingly, Paul, not 0, it's 4.
Yes, it is, because that's the whole setting that you have on that wing. Here's Oscar Mangan then, the Irishman, getting his lap underway. And we are going to be getting laps done quick and fast around here. It's not a long lap around here. So these drivers, they don't have long to prepare the tyres. They also don't have long to set their lap time here today. In the warm-up, they've been doing about just over 65-second laps here today. How will this pan out for qualifying here? I think one of the first drivers who will come across the line will be Zach Campbell, who has had a real torrid run of action in this series, as we also get to look at Christopher Dambitz as well on screen right now, getting his qualifying to finish. But yeah, one driver who's been disappointed with his run of form has been Zach Campbell.
Absolutely. I mean, he was still in that contention for the championship earlier in the season. However, unfortunately, now as it sits with a couple of bad rounds in the books, it started at Magny-Cours when he got absolutely turfed in the second race. It's been a struggle since then, and now's the time start coming in thick and fast. Let's see how he stacks up. It's a 105.554 for the time being. Zach Campbell provisionally on pole.
Yeah, he certainly has, as well. These drivers will be heading across the line to get those times in. So Zach Campbell is your quickest with Gustavo. Well, apologies for the technical issues there right then, but it is Sebastian Job who's just provisionally gone on to pole position from Group B. He has found himself to the head of the standings. So what will the next drivers do? Well, Alejandro Sanchez is the next one on a lap time right now. We've seen how good a qualifying he has had here in this series the last couple of weeks. Arjuna, could this be yet another pole position?
It would be his third consecutive pole if he was able to do that. And it's just been this momentum that Sanchez has seemed to pick up in the recent couple of rounds, has leapfrogged into the top 5 in the championship. And while it's, yes, an outside chance still for him to fight for the title, the Spaniard is never going to give up. And look at the margin. Sebastian Job is clear of Zach Campbell. It's only 0.02 of a second. It's anyone's to play for at the front.
Here comes Sanchez then across the line. Does he improve? Does he get to the front? No, he does not. It's 9th place for Sanchez. So he gets himself outside of that top 8 in qualifying. Next one in qualifying is Diogo Pinto. Pinto, of course, 3rd in the championship, has really had a good run of form after the drama that he had at Long Beach. Juna, he is looking to try and really get up with Jordan Caruso in this championship.
It's the man that we dubbed as Captain Consistent for 2022 after his rise to the championship came not through race victories, just by being in the mix so frequently. That title seems to be taken, though, now by Jordan Caruso, if we're being totally honest, who has been inside of the top 10 in all but one of the races we had in the first half of the season. We still wait for Caruso to go out in qualifying, and we know that his strength can be in these pressure cooker of a qualifying sessions. Diogo Pinto has the weight of Red Line and Portugal on his shoulders as he comes to the line.
To remember, it was a first main race win for Pinto this season at Circuit of the Americas. It's 4th place for him in qualifying, so he's in the top 4 right now. Charlie Collins, 2nd in the championship. He had a nightmare of qualifying last time out at the Red Bull Ring. He will be looking to hook up a lap here to really recharge his championship fight here.
He is still the only driver in the top 5 in the championship, though, to have not gotten any penalty points, and that includes after being mixed up in the thick of what was a frenetic round at the Red Bull Ring for the mid-pack drivers, with plenty of them, including Collins, having to take drive-through penalties thanks to incident limits. Charlie Collins wants to settle back into the rhythm that we know that he's got and get himself a bit closer to Caruso in the title hunt.
Could Charlie Collins get himself a 4th pole position in championship history? Well, he's coming out the final corner. His sector times are good. What's it going to be at the line? Across the line he goes. And that is to 3rd place. 3rd place for Charlie Collins. Sebastian Job is still provisionally on pole position here, but it's one more driver who's going to have a go at this one. It's Jordan Caruso, your championship leader.
Important to note, 4 VRS Kawanda cars inside of the top 10, and Bobby Zelensky, who maybe will have the most racecraft knowledge and experience in a situation like this. He's only 10th. Bring Collins 6th, Charlie Collins 3rd, Campbell 2nd. What does that mean, Paul? They can work together. Even if Caruso gets himself to the front, there's no Altus help inside of the top 10. The first of the Altus machines currently on the board, Oscar Mangan in 17th spot.
Yeah, that's going to be issues for Jordan. Through the final corner he goes. Launch across towards the checkered flag. Will he get pole position here or will he not? Across the line, it's 6th. It's 6th for Caruso. It's pole position once again for Sebastian Job here in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup. He is your Tag Heuer Pole Award winner.
It's his 2nd of the season, also coming on state soil after getting pole at Long Beach, but it's his 9th in his Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup career. He knows how to be quick when the pressure is on, and Sebastian Job will lead us to the green in upstate New York.
He certainly will. There you see the pole award winner, Sebastian Job. And, well, the winner of that award will get himself a Tag Heuer connected watch. It's his first pole position of the championship here for Sebastian in this series. But Jordan Caruso, Alejandro Sanchez still leading that pole award. Well, that was a thrilling qualifying here And, well, we find ourselves with an intriguing top three. We've got Zach Campbell starting on the front row of the grid, who he pretty much has written himself out of a championship charge. But you've got Job, who's trying to get himself back into a championship hunt, and Charlie Collins, who's trying to charge down Jordan Caruso.
It's the second half of the season where we really start to drill into the storylines, both at the top of the championship, also for those trying to still stay inside of the top 15 and hold on to Supercup licenses for 2024. But it's also the final race where potentially driving skill and technique matters the least as to who is going to win. We go to Spa, Nürburgring, Nordschleife, Le Mans, and Monza after this. Maybe Monza, you could say, is a bit of a toss-up into the air and a lottery and who comes out on top. But Watkins Glen, we saw this already at the end of 2022 on the road to the World Championship, Paul, is going to be the most crazy race we've had this season.
Yeah, if you thought that the Red Bull Ring last time out was craziness just a week ago, well, sit back and enjoy the action here from Watkins Glen. Of course, we do head on to Spa, Nürburgring, Circuit de la Sarthe and Monza for the end of the season in June. Wow, this season has just flown by here in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup, and it's one that has been giving us plenty of action here. Just 31 points separate Jordan Caruso and Charlie Collins going into this round of the championship, with Pinto just a further point back from Charlie Collins coming into this round. So quite close between the top three, and then a little bit further back is Alejandro Sanchez and Sebastian Job. Realistically, you would say it's those five looking for a championship run now.
I go even further and say at this point in the championship, I think we'll know a lot more in about an hour's time when we're done with the racing here at Watkins Glen. But I go as far as to say it is Caruso, Collins, and Pinto that are the three still to consider. Let's not forget that, of course, 85 points is the maximum you can get out of a single race event. And so right now, Sanchez and Job are barely keeping themselves in contention.
6 points have been closed up by, well, it's even more now looking at the points as they update. So it's 20 points between Caruso and Collins then in this championship. As here we go with the grid. It is Job and Campbell front row with Collins and Ariel. What a run Gustavo Ariel's been on. Look out for him in this one. Pinto and Caruso, row number 3. Fourth row for Bryn Collins and Alejandro Pico, with Nielsen and Sarika Zelensky and Sanchez on row number 6. Keita and Fluke with Back and Stuckback, Dambit and Oscar Mangan rounding out the 9th row. Oscarina with Johan Haaf, Salvatallans and Quentin Violate, row number 11. Row 12 for Max Beneke and Marchena. Julian Sonin and Lucas Keita on row 13, and the final row of the grid, Alexei Nesov and Thomas Tetler both did not set a qualifying lap. So that's your 28-car grid. Unfortunately, we are missing Cooper Webster, who's currently racing in the GB4 Championship at Alton Park, and he couldn't get himself to a sim rig to be able to get himself into this race. So Sebastian Job is pretty much doing it on his own here today. But with 40 seconds to go, Arjuna, try and pick us a winner in the sprint race.
Gustavo Ariel, he won the qualifying series race. You can learn more about the road to the World Championship by heading to iRacing.com/PES. But I think Tony Kanaan, it was great listening to his support of Gustavo when we talked to him in the All-Stars. He's one to come out on top, and talking of success, Cooper Webster got a podium in his very first GB4 race just earlier today. So congratulations to Cooper, and we'll see him out next time at Spa.
Yeah, we certainly will. But the drivers are getting themselves set then. It's going to be 11 laps of action here in the sprint race of this round number 6 of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup at Watkins Glen International. Drivers look up to that starter's gantry. And we are underway for this race. It's a great launch by Zach Campbell from row number 1 on the outside in towards turn number 1. And Campbell, the American, leads into turn 1. Charlie Collins in 3rd place. Behind him is Gustavo Ariel. So the front 4 have stayed pretty much as they are, apart from Job losing that lead at the start to go through the S's for the first time here. 28 Porsches thundering through the S's as we go along the back straight, and immediately Zach Campbell feeling the need to defend the line from Sebastian Job Job knows what it takes to win a championship in this series, having won in 2020. Gustavo Ariel, he's looking at alternate lines. He's wanted to try and get past Charlie Collins here. He wants to be the real cat amongst the pigeons.
One thing to note is we're not necessarily going to get super excited about passes for the lead until we get to the final couple of laps. However, if VRS Kawanda can get Campbell and Collins 1 and 2, they'll be able to control the tempo at the front in a way that the other teams may not like. So do watch for that to be a potential story point. Don't be surprised, though, if we see plenty of shuffling about who leads.
Yeah, absolutely. We do expect there to be plenty of changes at the front. And don't forget that all-important 8th place as well. That's going to be a key factor in this sprint race. Who can get themselves into the top 8 and get themselves a good position? Well, Jordan Caruso has had a good launch up into 6th place. Look at those cars just flying past the camera position there through the S's. And, well, Sebastian Job bump drafting. He's trying to bump draft Zach Campbell as Charlie Collins looks to the outside of the carousel. Round the long way he goes. Job's got that inside. Now, does he hold on to 2nd place here? The answer is yes. And Gustavo Ariel, he is sniffing all the while. He's got no championship to worry about. He's just wanting to get into the top 15 right now. He really could be one to watch out for in this race.
Yeah, that most recent round of the championship took Gustavo.
Oh, Charles Collins! Collins is dropping down the honor. He's in the wall. He's in the wall at the final corner. The man who came into this round in 2nd place in the championship is in the wall at the final corner. He's got heavy damage to that car. He is down to 27th in 1 corner.
The lack of expression tells you all, because Kawanda Simsport, they are not one to get angry. They are one to just sit there and watch the championship, unfortunately, potentially slip away from them. And it's what happens in these close quarter racing. When you're in that final quarter, it funnels down into just a couple of different lines. And now Collins leaves his teammate Campbell vulnerable at the front. Sebastian Job, invigorated by the chance of jumping back into the championship fight, leads as we work onto lap 3 of 11.
So Job to the head of your field ahead of Zach Campbell with Gustavo Ariel 3rd place. Diogo Pinto 4th place now, can sniff some good points here as well. Jordan Caruso in 5th place ahead of Alessandro Bico. Great start for him. Here's what happened to Collins and Arjuna.
Yeah, so it's just with Ariel looking the long way around, and as he rejoins back onto the track, an opportunity presented for Pinto to look to the inside as well, in just the smallest of hip checks, but it's enough for Collins to get a pretty significant shunt with the left rear and the left front into the wall. And Collins, well, we'll see how bad the damage is going to be. He's in 27, so not running last, at least for now.
Yeah, Dan Bitts is all the way down in last place at the moment in this race, having had issues on lap number 1, but wow. This sprint race has come alive at the front. And as we said, we're not going to be getting too excited about switches of lead because, well, we expect it to happen on each and every lap right now. But as I was saying, the 8th place is going to be a key point. And Kevin Nielsen is currently in that 8th place. And that would be a heck of a result then for the rookie driver from the outfit of Heuer. So, yeah, he's really on to a potential pole position for race number 2.
And to describe just how important that is, to get back to the point on Gustavo Ariel, the form that we saw from him at the Red Bull Ring has taken him from outside of the top 25 to inside of the top 15. He's 14th in the points right now. Kevin Nielsen, 63 points, is 23rd. If he gets 60 points here today, he's suddenly up inside of the top 10. And so the reverse invert grid, that top 8 is so important. Let's ride on board with Jordan Caruso, though the championship leaders, Diogo Pinto and Charlie Collins, came together through the final corner.
Oh, just, yeah, the car lurches up into the air there, and Caruso did almost lose out to Bico. Look at this. A gaggle of cars at the front of the field right now, and Ariel's trying to go all the way around Sebastian Job. We've seen in the Porsche eSports Carrera Cup Great Britain, Sebastian Job has had a real sort of refocus in his championship run there, and maybe he's able to take the form from that into the Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup. We'll have to wait and see. right now, second place for him behind Zach Campbell. I think if you're Zach Campbell, all you try and do is just get a win and try and deny points to others around you.
Yeah, at the very least, you're just trying to get some respect on your side. That was Bobby Zelensky with an almighty send to the inside of Kevin Nielsen. And we were just singing the praises of one of our rookies, and he's just been turfed out of that invert that could have changed this season around. And Bobby Zelensky, well, he's now in that 8th spot with the race stewards, I'm sure, going to be taking a closer look at that one at the end.
Yeah, so we've got racing all the way through the field. You see that race for the lead on the top of your screen. We've got the race for 15th as well, with different packs forming through the field here today. And this is what we expect to see around this venue. As, well, Bobby Zelensky now finds himself in 8th place after that coming together with Kevin Nielsen. And, well, Gustavo Ariel, I mean, you mentioned it, he had a tremendous run from the Red Bull Ring. Well, he has really carried that form through. In fact, he's carried the form through to being a top rookie in this series, as the race for 8th is still ongoing, and behind them as well, because you've got Sanchez, you've got Sam Keiter, you have Matthias Stuckbeck as well. Yeah, talking about rookies, Gustavo Ariel is doing a good job, although he's lost that place to Pinto on that lap.
I think at the end of the day, though, he's been able to get his feet underneath him, which is so important in a championship like this. He was involved in plenty of the shenanigans in the first half of the season, has lost 25 penalty points so far, which means that even though he only leads the rookie championship by 8 points, the potential has been there for what is a strong rookie class, where we've seen 2 winners, Gustavo Ariel, of course, at the Red Bull Ring, but Simona Maria Marcheno, of course, back at Long Beach.
Yeah, so as the drivers go through towards, well, the end of this lap, 4 laps to go will be at this point. And these drivers just focusing now, and you can see Sebastian Job at the head of your field trying to break the draft there, trying to break the slipstream from Zach Campbell. You're not really going to be able to do that around here, and with how even the drivers are matched in this championship, it really does show with trying to run in these packs. There you see those live championship points. As things stand right now, Diogo Pinto moves up into 2nd place in the championship, just 26 points off of your championship leader, Jordan Caruso. Sebastian Job, meanwhile, he is trying to hang on to that race lead, as Pinto's looking to the inside as well, as we've got more excitement further back in your pack as well, because Jamie Fluke is fighting for 15th and 16th places.
Yeah, got Oscar Urine in the Finnish Zebra-powered machine that currently leads them. He'll find his way all the way off of the track, but what we are seeing is it's a lot harder to defend in this race than it was for our Porsche All-Stars, and so some of the conversation that we were having about when you should go, how long you should wait to try and make a move, I think, at a track, at this particular track, it's a very different situation, and Job has been able to hold the point, but it's not come without its fair share of risk as well. Caruso, look at him jinking back and forth. He doesn't feel safe back in 5th position. 3 laps to go, we're starting to get a little bit more antsy.
Yeah, I think if you're involved in a bit of a pack right now, you've got to be careful, and you've got to be wary of not just the cars in front of you, but it's the cars behind you as well. They are really going to be duking it out towards the end of this race now. As you say, 3 laps to go, up the back straight. Once again, it's uphill all the way up to the bus stop, up over that bump. There you see the bump on the outside of corner entry into the carousel, turn number 5 here at Watkins Glen. A 7-turn corner, although the drivers only really think of it as a 4-turn corner, 4-turn circuit, should I say. Get your words out, Paul. But a bit of defensive driving from Sarika further back in the back of the shot there as well. So these drivers, they are trying their best to just work their way through the field, and well, with 2 to go at the line now, Sebastian Job does feel most at threat right now. If you're Pinto, this is where you need to make the move forward for the win.
Gustavo Ariel has a bit of, I think, motivation. We heard it from Tony Kanaan. He wasn't able to support Gustavo in the real world this year, but He did mention Stuttgart, Brazil as something that maybe Gustavo would have opportunities to jump into, and that's where Jeff Giassi got his start, was from sim racing, giving him an opportunity in the Porsche Carrera Cup Brazil. This is what they're all fighting for. Diogo Pinto almost had the championship flash before his eyes with contact with Zach Campbell. The Georgian looking around the outside of Sebastian Joe. 1.5 laps left to go.
Oh, he's run too far wide as Campbell is opened the door. There goes Pinto and Ariel then through the inside. I know that Zach will be much aggrieved to that happening to him up that back straightaway. But now Sebastian Job has got last year's champion Diogo Pinto right behind him. The car with the number 1. He's looking forward. He's trying to get himself a win here in this sprint race. White flag in the air. One more lap to go. Here comes Caruso maybe looking to the inside. No, not for the time being.
And again, remember, top 8 invert, and there's a gap behind Bobby Zelensky, so Alejandro Sanchez doesn't look like he's going to be able to challenge the VRS Coanda number 83. It's all about the front and how aggressive do Pinto, Job, Ariel, and Campbell all want to be. Pinto already side by side as they crest themselves over.
Oh!
And contact! Pinto in the wall and almost up and over. The defending champion dropping down the field.
Ariel, Gustavo Ariel, to the head of the field from that dramatic moment happening there between Job and Pinto. Job's been hung out to dry. Here comes Zach Campbell for the race lead. This is just for the sprint race here in the opening race of the day. In towards the penultimate corner. It's Ariel, it's Campbell, neck and neck between the two of them. And well, we have to switch between the driver cameras, but oh, contact between Ariel and Campbell. It's that final corner. There's more contact with Job and Campbell, but Gustavo Ariel, 2 races in a row. He is a race winner here in the Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup. My goodness. What a finish to the race, and it all started on the back straight, and well, Diogo Pinto is out of the points.
Incredible stuff on the final lap. We knew this was the one where technique maybe would matter the least. Luck would come into play the most. Diogo Pinto, the most unfortunate of them all, and not for the first time this season, down and out of the points.
It's Ariel from Job at the front of the field with Caruso coming through in 3rd place in the end. That's good for the championship leader with Bika, Campbell, Bryn Collins and Bobby Zelensky. Alejandro Sanchez ends up in pole position for the 2nd race of the evening. And you have to look down at your order at some of those names and you think, my goodness, there's going to be some talking on happen after this event. But, well, Arjuna, as we see those results flash upon us, we do get to have a word with your race winner.
It's not the first time Gustavo's won in a Porsche here at Watkins Glen in this configuration. Gustavo, though, back-to-back race wins. You've got a big smile on your face. How are you feeling right now?
Well, no words, honestly. We had a very good week and in the last week, and as I said, that round makes me confidence to the next one to push and to do a good quali, and that was my best quali, and I'm very happy to start at the front because this track is quite tough to pass and you need to manage the tires quite well, and I was happy to not get involved on the last lap shunt, and yeah, was quite a good one. I wait the guys to have some beef, and I was happy with my P4, to be honest. But when I saw the opportunity with Zach almost on the last corner, no, I'm going to break so much deep inside and work it, and Zach lift a bit as well. So yeah, not bad to have 2 victories in back-to-back in the Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup, so I'm quite grateful to achieve that. And I want to say a big thank you to my friends, the guys from Brazil who is cheering for me, Tony Canan, all the Porsche guys. I'm pleased, honestly, and yeah, let's put Brazil on the top again. Let's go for the future one. Thank you.
How quickly form and momentum can change. Gustavo Ariel now well cemented inside of the top 15. But Paul, let's go grab a look at what happened on that final lap.
Yeah, that final lap, there's a lot to digest here and not a lot of time to digest it in. It was that race for the lead between Job and Pinto. Pinto got the run through the S's. And then it all happened down the back straight. It almost looked like the two of them tried to squeeze each other down the straight.
Yeah, we'll see up here, maybe as they crest themselves over the hill. I think Joe didn't go as much to the inside as maybe Pinto was expecting, and maybe vice versa. Joe was expecting, I'm not so sure about that, because it happened so early in the straight that maybe it's a racing incident, but ultimately, that's not the type of contact we want to see. Pinto able to spin it around, but drops out of the point. And then it was here. Joe getting squeezed wide a little bit. Door open for Zach Campbell to try and take a look.
Yeah, but it wasn't all over there at that point either, because Ariel and Campbell then were going too wide into the penultimate corner. Look at how deep Ariel went and broke. It compromised him for the exit the corner, but it also meant that he had the inside. There was ever so slight contact between Campbell and Ariel, and then contact between Job and Campbell. That allows Caruso and also Biko to get him at the line. But wow, I mean, if that's what the sprint race will give us, what will the main race give us here?
Double the length and also double the wear on the tires. So how much more are they going to be slipping and sliding by the time we get to that checkered flag? Oh, this is going to be an intense one. And already, I'm pretty sure, Paul, just based on what we saw on that final lap, tempers have been flaring. Add in the 10 more laps we saw previous to that, there are going to be grudges that are going to be settled on track and hopefully not spill out a little bit more than that.
I think there's going to be quite the discussion in the virtual paddock after this round of the championship. There we see some of the highlights of what happened in that race, and unfortunate for Kevin Nielsen. He was in a position to get a reverse grid pole, ends up spun around at turn number 1. We had plenty of racing and action at the front. Pinto nearly had an incident with Campbell a few laps before the end of the race, and then it was that right there, that contact between the two leaders, which then led us to that absolutely sensational finish and back-to-back wins for Gustavo Ariel from Brazil for that TXC Racing by TK team. And well, the drama just kept on coming and coming thick and fast. And well, we've got a 22-lap race coming up for you in just a few seconds' time. So do not go anywhere. Make sure you've got yourself a beverage of choice and sit back and enjoy this one, because, well, we are going to have a lot of fun here in this main race. We'll show you your grid very quickly then. It is Sanchez and Zelensky front row with Collins, Bryn Collins and Zach Campbell, row number 2. Biko and Caruso, your championship leader, on row number 3. Job and Ariel finish off row number 4, and then they start where they finish. Sarika, Kaita, Mangan and back with Stuckbeck and Rene, then Talon's half, Marchena and Beneke. Down the order, Nessov and Tetela, they stayed together all the way through. Fluke and Violette with Sonnen and Charlie Collins. Well, that's a big one for him. Kevin Nielsen, Diogo Pinto, last year's champion, down there on row number 13 with Dambits. And Luca Kita rounding out the 28-car grid. We've got about a minute or so to go here, Arjuna. So, well, they've sort of set the stalls out, haven't they?
They have. Sanchez and Zelensky are in a pretty good spot to try and contain some of the pace here, but it's Coanda Simsport, VRS Coanda Simsport, to give them the full and proper title, that sits second, third, and fourth. Going to be interested to see how they all work together as they sit on the grid. Jordan Caruso, though, kept his nose out of trouble, while other championship favorites did not. All he's got to do here in Watkins Glen in the second craziest race of the season, after that first one we've already seen, stay out of trouble for another 22 laps.
Easier said than done, that is for sure. But we are getting ourselves set for this second race of the evening. As you saw, 22 laps, the top 8 inverted here in this starting order, and we'll be getting ourselves set for all the action here in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup. And it is round number 6, the main race. Well, is it going to be a Brazilian's third race win in a row? It's going to be a tall order from 8th place, but you never know around this venue at Watkins Glen. The revs are rising. They're looking to the start of Scantry. Green flag flag. We're underway for action here in this main race of the Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup. Down towards turn number 1 the go. Sanchez takes to the lead with Bryn Collins getting a good start from third on the grid up into second at the start of that race. Through the S's for the first time in this main race. He can get incidents happen through here. Hopefully all good as we go through the S's. Sanchez from Bryn Collins, from Bobby Zelensky, from Zach Campbell, Alessandro Bico. That's aggressive weaving from Sanchez down the back straight. Not wanting to give a slipstream to either or any of the VRS Commander Esports team, but they are currently second, third, and fifth because Bico is getting involved in this one.
Lap 1 in the sprint race was maybe the cleanest lap 1 that we've had this season, and lap 2, start number 2, race 2, lap 1, trending in the same direction. It turns out all that we need to do is remove any sort of heavy braking zone or hairpins for these drivers to be able to get through safely. It is going to be Sanchez that leads at the end of lap number 1, though. And just to reiterate what we mentioned at the start of the sprint poll, 22 laps. There's going to be plenty of passing for the lead. It's only going to be the passes on the final lap that really matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will be keeping an eye on everything. Sebastian Job making the move on Bico in 6th place, I see. Moving up to 5th now for Job. So again, Sebastian trying to move forward in all of this. He'll feel that he could have won that last race. He really will, and he'll be up for trying to get another race victory here today as Bryn Collins looking to go to the front of your field. And this is where having teammates, having compatriots really does help you out in these types of races.
Absolutely, and Bobby Zelensky a bit of a buffer now that's going to allow him to slow down Job and Bico as they try and work their way on forward. So Bryn Collins in a great spot to potentially grab the first victory in his Porsche Heuer eSports Super Cup career, and what a victory that would be. I'm pretty sure that would be the first pair of siblings that have won at the World Championship level, Paul, although you may know a little bit more about me on that.
Oh, now you're asking
We're going into the iRacing history books here.
Yeah, I mean, there have been brothers and siblings race at the World Championship level.
John and Jane Robertson.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely. I think there is potentially another brothers who have won races, but I'd have to double check the books, and we haven't got time to do that here at the moment because, well, we're in the middle of a broadcast, and right now it is Collins and Campbell who head the field after making their way through on Sanchez. As I say, not getting too excited in these early stages. There's plenty of racing going to happen in this one. It is very much like a speedway event, is this one. Maybe not super speedway, but certainly these drivers having the opportunity to get a feel of what it's like to be a part of the Coca-Cola eNASCAR iRacing series.
Just a little bit of a taste as well. That's all the way to the wall for Ascari Rinez. Alexei Nasov tried to get on pass for what was 17th position. Yuri Kastorp, Sebastian Job's Oracle Red Bull Racing Esports teammate, has chimed in to say that it might be PJ Sturgios and Jake Sturgios that are the siblings that may already have enjoyed success at the very top level. Talking of our multi-talented iRacers, though, Bobby Zelensky has a great camera shot as he carries us into the outer loop.
You know what, I was racking my brain for the name, and yeah, Sturgios was the surname that I couldn't quite think of. I knew there was something in there, but yeah, would have to check that one out. But yeah, Bobby Zelensky giving us a great camera car view of action, and speaking of action, there's been plenty of it further down your order as well. We've got drivers who have dropped back. Jamie Fluke is all the way back to penultimate place. He's struggling out there in the second race. There's a car off. That's Kevin Nielsen. Oh, if it wasn't bad enough, losing 8th place in race number 1, he gets tagged, turned, and off into the runoff at the penultimate corner.
Yeah, and unfortunately Quintin Violate, I think, has to come down to pit lane after being involved in that one with RHG's pretty miserable season overall continuing. Yes, Julian Sonnen had some good luck last week that punched him back up into the top 10 in points, but Sonnen and Violate just struggling to fire on all cylinders. Back at the front, though, it's Campbell and Bryn Collins that now lead 1 and 2 as Sanchez tries to find a way back up to the first or second step of the podium. It's now Bobby Zelensky that might slightly be left by himself with his Coanda SimSport teammates separated from him.
As they go on out of the carousel, and yeah, Sanchez being involved in that is a little bit of the fly in the ointment right now, just trying to disturb that VRS Coanda eSports outfits run at the front, although I'm sure they would have preferred to have had Charlie Collins up there duking it out with them as well. Quentin Violate is in pit road, and he will be done as Jordan Caruso making a move. We just saw in the background of shot, he's making moves on Marina Sarica. In fact, Oscar Mangan has followed his teammate through on that move as well. So Caruso and Mangan up a position there, Arjuna.
Well, take a look at what happened to Kevin Nielsen a bit further back, and you could see it was a bit of 3 wide as they came off of the outer loop and funneled into the penultimate corner, and it was going to be side by side with 2 of those RAG cars. That was the 81 of Quinton Violate, got contact with the right rear to the left front of Nielsen's, and for the second time, unfortunately, the Fire SimSport car goes around.
Yeah, not a good day in the office for Kevin Nielsen. Meanwhile, Sanchez has moved forward into second place right now as, well, Bryn Collins is fighting that one back and saying, no, you don't. There's the live championship points, and look at how much that has changed here in this run, because all of a sudden it is now 67 points the gap between Jordan Caruso and Charlie Collins. Sebastian Job, well, is onto pit road as Sam Kiter, so drama for him. But that's a really big swing, is that, Arjuna, in the championship.
85 points, the maximum you can take out of any given race meeting. And so Jordan Caruso, if he keeps this consistent label that we put on him, he's on his way to the championship. We ride on board, and he's got to be patient here. They're going 3 wide in front. He's not going to get too aggressive. We've seen the onboard look with Caruso over the course of the season, even though it's about 6 o'clock in the morning for him. He's calm, he's cool, he's collected. He's not too worried about what's going on in front.
He's just so laid back, isn't he? Oh, close between Biko and Job going through the penultimate corner, even closer again onto corner entry. And here comes Jordan Caruso trying to take advantage of the run, and he's got drivers all over behind. And I think Oscar Mangan is going to have to act as a little bit of a rear gunner for the Altus eSports driver. And the young Australian championship leader is certainly doing his championship a world of good here this round of the championship. Biko absolutely onto the engine cover of Sebastian Job's car in front, neck and neck between the 2 of them, but they are in danger here of dropping off from that lead pack, aren't they?
Sebastian Job, I don't know how he did not crash through that penultimate corner, because that rear end stepped around on him, and before he even knew it, he had saved the car. He got very lucky, and then Biko was off on the grass in the final corner, was lucky not to slide loose and then get into Job. What a sequence that was. Somehow we survived, and like you say, they've got to be careful that they don't allow this to separate them from those in front, because Job has got to know at this point it is win, and that is it for the championship hopes. Knowing he's 70 points back with 4 rounds left to go after this, it's after this race that typically we know who the players are going to be, and right now it's Jordan Caruso sailing away.
Yeah, I said at the start of this portion of the broadcast that it was the top 5 that could realistically look at, well, could be contenders for the championship, but realistically it was that top 3. Well, that top 3 has been absolutely changed upside down. Charlie Collins and Diogo Pinto are 18th and 19th places right now in this race. Meanwhile, Biko, he's trying to keep himself in the championship. He wants to keep himself in the top 15 to get automatic qualification, and still changes at the front here because Sanchez has moved ahead of Bryn Collins.
Yeah, this is a tussle that's been going back and forth. Zach Campbell's been just riding at the front, and again it's the younger of the Collins on the outside as the Stormforce racing car sweeps back up into second. Oh, this really allowing Joe to come on through, but Bobby Zelensky is going to take it 3 wide on the outside as Bryn Collins up to second for a moment, and it's checked them up as they come towards the line and diving down in towards turn number 1. Bryn Collins could be the rear gunner for Zach Campbell to sail on clear.
And look who is there. Sebastian Job took advantage of the situation, moved forward, positions in all of that. He was ever the opportunist in all of that, but Zach Campbell has pulled out 1.7 seconds at the front because of all this fighting between these ones. They're tripping over each other. If any of them want to have aspirations of winning this race, they need to start closing up and start working together, but I don't think that's happening right now. Into the carousel once again. We're only on lap 10 of this race. There's still plenty of racing to go in this one. Zach Campbell, he's at the front. He'll be looking in his rear view mirror and thinking, oh yes, thank you very much, keep on fighting, guys.
One driver that's been unable to be so effective is Gustavo Ariel as he sits in 9th position, but just look how close Sanchez got. Bit of a touch from Pico. He's going to slide backwards as we come to the end of lap number 10.
Well, let's take in the sights and sounds of this race and drive on board with Alessandro Bico, who we're on board with right now, and give you a little bit of buzz, full throttle, now on board with Gustavo Ariel. We saw in the background a shot Max Benecke have issues through the penultimate corner. He's dropping down the order. He's down to 14th in this race. He's actually gained places even if he is in 14th place. That's how bad a day it's been for the Mouse eSports driver. And we've got a car on pit road. That's Matthias Stuckbeck. He has had not the best of days here today, but things are starting to heat up with 11 to go here in this Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup round number 6 at Watkins Glen, and it is Zach Campbell who leads by 1.3 seconds over his teammate of Bryn Collins, and then Sebastian Job, Alejandro Sanchez, Bobby Zelensky, championship leader Jordan Caruso, Gustavo Ariel in 7th, and Oscar Mangan in 8th place. Your championship contenders, it's worth pointing out, Diogo Pinto's down in 16th place, and Charlie Collins down in 18th right now. And Simone Maria Marcheno has just taken himself back to pit road, so he is out of this race. 2 retirements, Marcheno and Violate at this stage. But 10 laps to go here, Arjuna. Business is soon going to pick up.
Well, take a look at what happened up the hill to Marcheno, who did win the main race in the Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup Contenders Series earlier. It was just coming up over the crest of the hill. It's going to be involving with the number 27 machine as they try and just pinch their way on through. And as much as that Urano eSports car wanted to try and cut down as tight as possible, Marcheno had nowhere to go.
Yeah, so in the wall and out of the race for Simone Maria Marcheno. A race winner here in this championship. Of course, won that sprint race at Long Beach just a few rounds ago as they carry on. So it is Zach Campbell who is losing the gap at the front here, Arjuna. Zach Campbell will be thinking, I didn't break away enough, and well, Bryn Collins is bringing the rest of the party along with him.
I think he needed upwards of 2 seconds to be able to break away with how the cars and setups are all built. Let's not forget, we've already gone past the 11 laps of the sprint race, and so tires starting to wear out that little bit more now, and you put a decent amount of load on the tires here given how fast a lot of these corners are, especially that outer loop. So much load thrown onto that left rear, continuing just to track plenty of these cars, and who are trying to fight their way forward. Let's give a bit of a shout out to Diogo Pinto after being down in 27th after his incident, has clawed his way up double-digit spots to almost get back up into the top 15.
Yeah, 10 places gained for Pinto right now. Has got the race for 19th going on as well, further down in your order. There you see Pinto in the foreground of the shot, trying to make his way past Oscar Rene. And there's a live look at the championship points, and it's, well, things are changing all the time here in this race, with Sebastian Job now second place in the championship with 68 points, but Pinto, it keeps on changing because of Pinto involved in that race with Rene. He's now back to second place, but 67 points. That could be a big, big day for Jordan Caruso.
I don't think we've really seen a championship like this, in that one driver has been able to break away to such a large extent. That was a big old dive from Julian Sonnen down the inside of Tuomas Tatila in the heroic eSports car. But Jordan Caruso is just shaping up in such a fascinating way. And again, double top 8 finishes. It might not be the splashiest of feature race appearances, but for Joe, for Sanchez, as much as they've been fighting, they've not been as consistent as the Altus eSports driver.
Can I draw your attention to Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup history and the 2021 season, and a certain Josh Rogers who won the championship with a round to go. So we have had a young Australian pull out a bit of a gap.
Dominant.
Yes, he had a dominant season that season. Yeah, we have had it in the past. But I tell you what, this is a real turnout for the books for me. But we expected there to be a real mix-up here at this round of the championship, with it being this particular layout of the circuit, as there goes Bobby Zelensky to the inside of Sanchez. We expected a mix-up, and we've got it here today. And for those drivers who are trying to catch up to Jordan Caruso, it's not been their day.
Trying to count how many drivers sit outside of the top 15 but currently run inside of the top 10. I think we have 3 or 4 drivers, and they're going to take big swings. Bryn Collins, Bobby Zelensky. Spa up next is the one that I'm very, very curious about, because I still think that is a pretty crazy sort of a race. It's not dissimilar to this sort of a track. However, it just has a few more technical areas where you will go single file and the drivers will make a bit more of a difference. Here we have, 3 or 4 braking zones, and outside of that, there's not much that the drivers have to worry about.
Do you know what? A circuit like this that this sort of reminds me of a little bit is a circuit that reminds me a little bit of is well, it is the national layout at Silverstone. That reminds me a bit of that. That's a bit of a slipstream fest. But look at that! Look at that championship points there. You asked for it, Arjuna, and you have got it. Max Beneke, 1 point within the top 15 right now.
And this is going to be such a tough month of April for the likes of Beneke, even some of those other drivers who are on that bubble, because there is non-stop racing for them. Beneke was in action yesterday. He's competing here today. We'll be back racing competitively on Monday. He'll be doing that for 3 consecutive weekends. It takes its toll on you. And there are some drivers like Bryn Collins who are able to focus their attention on one championship. Beneke's split focus has made it a very difficult 2023.
Yeah, there's a few of the drivers on the grid here who have got that split focus, and I think it has been noticeable, the performance drop-off of those drivers. Not being able to focus on this series has really affected them for this championship, and it's allowed people like Bryn Collins to get up there and to Sanchez to have a go. And oh, that's Beneke! Beneke, he's got serious damage. That's going to be race over for him. No points for the driver who was a championship contender back in 2019.
Oh, and his current teammate, Yuri Kastorp, who I misidentified as a current Oracle Red Bull Racing eSports driver. He is an ex-Oracle Red Bull Racing eSports driver. We'll be gutted to see that. Beneke's just had no luck. Struggled to get a lap time in qualifying today. Set it very, very late in the session. Got tangled up with Kevin Nielsen earlier in the main race. But unfortunately for Beneke, more struggles here in upstate New York.
As we've got action, Johan Half further down your order, and contact between him and Lasse Backers into the wall. Well, it's turning into a bit of a demolition derby here further down the order. Lasse Bach, I would imagine, will be heading back to the pit road and be saying goodbye to his race here. The two of them, Johan Harf and Lasse Bach, getting together. Wow, I mean, they looked like they were going to be having a good race. That was for 12th place. Diogo Pinto will be happy with that, because that moves him up a place into 13th.
I tell you what, poor Lasse Bach. He's had 3 top 10 finishes this season, the most of any of the rookies. But with this continued just torrid luck that he has, he's going to be lucky to be a top 5 rookie at the end of the championship at this rate. Fire Simsport was one of the breakout stories in the Contender Series at the end of 2022. We saw Nielsen back, and then they were joined by Dambits and Stokebeck, who finally has the livery on his car for the second half of the season as well. So gutted to see that happen to them.
Let's have a look as Johan Harf loses the place to Diogo Pinto then, and around the outside comes Julian Sonnen as well. Julian had a good round last time out, and we'll be hoping to continue that form. 2 6th place finishes for Julian. A little bit further down in this race. He's gained 10 places as well. Diogo Pinto, 14 places gained now for the champion from last year. So it's not over yet, but it's going to be a tough one. But here's the thing, Aljuna, I want to point out. Just 22 cars running out on track right now.
We did only have 28 that started. We mentioned Cooper Webster's racing in the first round of the GB4 Championship, got a podium earlier today. And also Gianni Vecchio, I think, unfortunately, we may not see for the rest of the season, because we talk about bad luck. It's Gianni that's the one that's had absolutely no luck so far. But this is the championship mindset that you need to come from adversity, from the back of the pack, and to climb your way forward to 12th. Diogo Pinto at Long Beach was not down and out, but you could tell he was frustrated. A second disappointment has not sent him back. He's looking still to climb to the top 10.
Is Marina Sarica and Salva Talons trying to duke it out for 10th place, and Alessandra Bica ahead of them, the Williams eSports teammate of Sarica. There's a lunge to the inside from Salva Talons, and that's a place gained back then for Salva through all of that as they come through the final corner across the line for another lap in the books. We've got 2 laps to go in this race, and I think that it's going to start picking up at the front of the field, because Sebastian Job is just 0.3 of a second back from Zach Campbell. Look at this group right now. The top 7, top 8 all together.
Cue that Jaws music again, because the mirrors are filled, and Job gives a shot to the bumper of the VRS Coanda Simsport car, but there's 3 of those machines up inside of this top grouping at the front, and so Job sees Campbell hold on to the race lead. Bit of contact with Bryn Collins. Where does Bobby Zelensky factor into all of this? Is Philip Stam working the mastermind from behind and toggling all of the strings?
Tell you, Bryn Collins' best result this season was 4th place in the sprint race at Long Beach. He'll be wanting to improve that stat and get himself a podium here in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup. 1 more lap to go here in this round number 6 of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup, and already people are starting to duck out and look into the inside. Is that Oscar Mangan on his teammate Jordan Caruso? It is Oscar Mangan moving ahead of Jordan Caruso, and Gustavo Ariel followed him through there. So Caruso down to 8th place right now, but here comes Sebastian Job then with the run up the back straight. What is it going to be for them? It's 3 for the lead, and the VRS Coanda eSports car trying to block them is Bryn Collins. He's trying to block Sebastian Job from that win. Around the outside of this carousel for the final time here. Campbell in the lead, only just ahead of Sebastian Job. Those two clashed at the end of the sprint race here. The 2 of them are going to go side by side into the final corner of the race. There goes Collins, Bryn Collins to the inside of Job. It's going to be a VRS Coanda eSports 1, 2, 3, because Zach Campbell with another race win, and there's Job around right at the death into the wall. Zach Campbell wins from Bryn Collins, from Bobby Zelensky. What a result for that team of VRS Coanda eSports. Sensational stuff for them. Well, the young driver from Georgia, USA is delighted with that, but we're into the Buzz post-race show. Wow, let's take a breath then. Zach Campbell it is who wins that race by half a second over his young British teammate of Bryn Collins. Bobby Zelensky, best result of the season, 3rd place here today, ahead of Alejandro Sanchez. Oscar Mangan and Gustavo Ariel finish ahead of Sebastian Job, who was turned at the line. He was in the wall, crossing the line there, just ahead of Jordan Caruso. Biko and Talons round out the top 10. Storica ahead of championship contender Diogo Pinto on a recovery drive into 12th place with Sun in half. Rene and Kita. Charlie Collins, not the drive that he would have wanted, only up to 17th for him ahead of Jamie Flug. Christopher Dambitz and Alexei Nesov round at your top 20. Kevin Nielsen and Sam Keita are the final 2 drivers who finish on the lead lap. Thomas Tetteler 1 lap down and the rest did not finish, and here, Arjuna, is what it's done to the championship points. 58 points between Caruso and Pinto. Charlie Collins is there with Sanchez, Job, and Zach Campbell's only 90 points back yet.
Yep, we can't totally write out the VRS Commander number 15, and we're standing by from victory lane as Zach Campbell bounces back after what was a pretty tough couple of rounds for you, Zach. Smile back on your face. How are you feeling after that win?
No, not too bad. I am stoked. We didn't talk about doing anything beforehand. We talked about with the Altus guys that we test with, we were like, if it comes down to it, everyone races for themselves. And I think Bryn certainly made that a little bit easier for me trying to race for himself. So that was so much fun. I don't think that could have happened without Bobby and Bryn back there kind of fighting it out. That was so much fun. The car was really, really good all day. You know, I think in the sprint, I made a mistake that kind of cost myself a shot to win, and then I got killed, unfortunately. So, you know, is what it is. But, man, this whole team is so awesome.
I've got to ask what the preparations for a round like this are when you know it's maybe a lot about having a great setup and then working together well. How did the preparation play out to sweep the podium here in the main race?
To be honest, it was a lot of test races. I got to thank everyone at VRS Coanda and everyone at Altus eSports for kind of working together for these test races, man. It's so beneficial to doing that. I mean, I think, you know, for me, I had exams early in the week. So my prep was kind of limited going in. It's the least amount of practice I've ever done for a PESC round. So no, it was fantastic. I think it differs a little bit because it's so racecraft heavy. But, you know, it's certainly something to where it's a unique challenge. You know, I think I complained a lot, probably more than anyone, about having this track on the schedule. So it's funny how that works out.
So no more complaints in my DMs. Got it. We'll go on over.
No more complaints.
Okay, fair enough. We'll go on over to your teammate Bryn Collins, who steps onto the podium for the very first time in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup. Bryn, how are you feeling? It's been a pretty tricky start to the season overall, but finally it's gone your way.
Yeah, it's amazing, you know, to be at the front and not being taken out, which has been lovely. But yeah, it went pretty well, you know, team effort, bringing it home. It's very nice.
I've got to ask, what's the relationship with you and your brother when you're preparing for these races? Is there more incentive because you want to be faster than your brother?
Yeah, I mean, it's like brotherly love and brotherly hate at the same time, you know. We keep pushing each other on, and yeah, there's always that inner brother hatred, which to do the best, you know, to win.
I can tell that you've got plenty of excitement on your side. Yeah. You still owe Paul Smith a donut, don't you forget, after what happened in January.
I'll have to remember that one.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm sure Paul will make sure he gets the receipts. Congratulations on the podium. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Cheers, okay, cheers.
Final driver from the VRS Coanda stable is Bobby Zelensky. And Bobby, an oval sort of a race, a podium. It must feel a little bit good.
Yeah, this is like as good as I could hope for, honestly. Like, yeah, I'm not very good in this series. I'm a mid-pack guy, but I knew when I was especially hyped to make it back into the series when this was on the schedule, because I got fourth in contender in the main, and I don't know, it's draft racing. It's pretty much all racecraft, and that's what you learn in NASCAR, and that's what I'm good at. So yeah, I had a couple like incidents today. I don't know how that'll be judged. I was driving pretty aggressive, I will admit that, but I knew this was a good chance for me, and I knew we had a great car. I have an amazing team with Coanda. We got a 1, 2, 3. Like, this is perfect. I'm just stoked to finally get a podium in the series.
Your first podium, like you mentioned. I do have to ask, though, you alluded to it, you weren't going to be in the series until late in the day. How has it been for you, splitting your attention, of course, part of the Joe Gibbs racing team for eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing competition, and over here in the Porsche eSports Supercup? What's that been like as a demand on your time?
Yeah, obviously, I can't put a lot of hours into this, just based on how grueling NASCAR can be. But my team knew that, and Charlie, Zach, they're like, yeah, it's cool, man. Like, you got NASCAR, that's your main thing. So I really rely on them for data, like learn how to drive the track as quickly as possible. They spend a lot of time, make sure the setup's good, and I can just kind of roll in, and I'm never their pace, but I try to get as close as I can. And consistent as I can with the small hours I can put in. Thankfully for this track, like we have Monza no chicanes in NASCAR in 3 days, and I've been doing that a lot. But because this track is pretty much 4 corners, I was able to get up to speed pretty fast. Yeah, like obviously I would love to do better in PESC, but only so much time in the day.
Hey, you got a podium, you're locked into the playoffs at eNASCAR as well. So, hey, been a good start to 2023. Congratulations, Bobby, and hope that the second half of the season continues to be fun for you. But, Paul, we're heading over to the Ardennes next and to one of the most legendary racetracks in the world.
Yeah, we say goodbye to North America for the season and we head to Europe for the rest of the championship, because in 2 weeks' time we head to Spa-Francorchamps, an absolutely legendary circuit, and the only round of this championship that I've ever missed on commentary back in 2019. So it is one that does hold good memories for a lot of the drivers here in this championship, and it's one that they know very well. Make sure you join us in 2 weeks' time for that one. But very quickly, Arjuna, what a chaotic race.
Oh, this was one that plenty of the drivers had circled at what must be the most chaotic race in series history, but it played out in such a fascinating way. Plenty of championship implications, with 4 more technical tracks still left to come.
Well, Zach Campbell had to wait 9 races to get another race win this season, and he got it here today in the main race. From everybody here, it's goodbye from Porsche.